We are live.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Oh, where's my thing? we are Johnita, Francis, and Trish Rock, your empowerment influencers.
That's right. No fluff conversations about life, empowerment, spirituality, and freedom.
And thank you for joining us for this episode, number 14, proudly sponsored by the amazing Holistic Bliss magazine.
Absolutely.
Johnita, we are rocking life right now.
We are. We are. We actually just realised what time it was because we were having a chinwag, Helen, like us, about everything that's going on. It's just
Yeah.
collective growth, I think, was the topic, I suppose, the umbrella term that we were discussing. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I must say, I feel a little bit less glamorous than last week.
I think my hair's letting me down. And and
Oh,
the lipstick.
and the lipstick,
I had that black shit everywhere, Trish. Oh my God. I
I
don't know how I managed to get lip marks where I get lip marks, but it does explain why I can get tomato sauce behind my ear, even though I don't eat tomato sauce.
Well,
Very
there you go.
talented.
You followed the trail. You followed the trail. For anybody listening on our podcast, you'll have to check out our live show from last week because we played dress up and we looked hot.
I thought we looked amazing.
I
I sent a
thought we
picture
did
to my
too.
friend. She's like, hot, hot, hot. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-oh. Remind me not to dye my hair dark around her. It was great with my ego. I loved it. My chest was bigger. I felt like 5.5 foot tall for hours. It was great.
And what are you now? 5.4.
5'2". I tried to stretch it to 3, but I'm pretty sure it's closer to 5'2" now. And I've
Oh,
actually shrunk,
okay. Yeah, I
which was
think I've shrunk
disappointing.
too. Yeah, I used to be 5'8". I think I'm 5'7" now. Yeah. Anyway, shit
Wow, you still
happens.
tower over me. Yeah. Sasquatch. I shall
Sasquatch.
name you Sasquatch. All
Hey,
right. Are
hey,
we
we are.
ready?
Hello,
Well,
everybody, all of our live audience. Welcome,
hello.
welcome, welcome. All right, let's.
Yeah. Oh, now before we go any further,
Yes.
I'm going to drop you in it,
Oh,
Trish, because you have an amazing opportunity this weekend.
hmm
So I know that this is not part of our normal podcast, but can you please tell everybody about what you're doing and just give us a little overview so if anybody hasn't come across it, they know that they can get tickets and it's not too late. Sorry.
Of course. Yeah, beautiful. I'll just grab the. Oh, I think I've got the link here anyway. Um, let me see what comes up. Yep, perfect. So I've got the link in the comments. Yes, I'm involved in this summit this weekend. It's very exciting. It's called Empowered. Obviously, I was meant to be there. Empowered by Guidelin. It's an amazing summit, and there's over 50 speakers across the day and night, and I'm one of them. Yippee!
And so Deepak,
And the keynote speaker is Deepak Chopra. So I cannot believe I am sharing the virtual stage with Deepak. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Incredible, incredible. So I've got close to 100 people booked into my presentation already. So book in. There's some free options. There's also some paid options if you want to get the replays. My talk is on 8 o'clock next Sunday morning, the 23rd, Australian time, and 3 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time the day before.
excellent. Well, I'm so proud
Yay!
of you. I wasn't going to let you get out of not telling everybody because I've been telling everybody. I'm like, my friend Trish
Oh,
Rock.
on stage with Deepak.
So my autograph is available for you because I'm friends with her, just so you know.
Perfect.
Great. I'm so proud of you. Well done. Well deserved too.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And you know, this is what, and you've got really great stuff happening in your life too. And this is why we're here doing this podcast to really empower people to say yes to themselves, say yes
Yeah.
to life, say yes to you, and see where it takes you. It's such a fun adventure. If you had have asked me last year if was going to be in 2 magazines and on stage with Deepak, I just would have laughed at you.
She's on crack again.
It wouldn't have even been in my sights. So it's just incredible when you say yes to yourself and to life. And both you and I have not had an easy life, and sometimes we haven't said no to ourselves, but these days we do, and it's such much more of a fun journey.
It is indeed. Get your skates on. She's going places, people. Oprah's next. Look out. She'll be booking her. I can become your booking manager and you can be mine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right, let's see. What topic have we got tonight? Let's pop it up in the screen here.
Let's hope I'm ready. Am I ready? Yep.
Oh, are we ready?
Ooh. Right. Now I need to go to my little bit and spin it, baby. Spin. Are you ready?
Bennett, be kind to us, spirit.
Come on. Come in, spinner. What do we got? A higher perspective. Moving past the fourth dimension. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun.
let me
That is
write that
not
in the
kind to a spirit.
comments. So what, because I can't see it very well. So what does it say? Moving into the fourth dimension?
Moving past the fourth dimension.
Oh, moving past the fourth dimension. Yep.
Ooh.
Did you say highest perspective?
A higher perspective, yeah.
All right. A higher perspective. So is this going into the fifth?
I reckon it would be.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because,
Oh, were we finished with that? We were. I just got rid of it because I want to talk.
Okay. Sorry.
Out of my way.
I was letting down the side there a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? What's your take on the fourth dimension? It's kind of like the step, isn't it, from the third to the fifth? It's like that
I kind of feel
step
like
of awareness.
Yeah, I was actually just going to call it the waiting room, where
Oh,
you
that's
sort of adjust
interesting.
to what's going on. Because
Yeah.
for me, and this is a personal experience thing, okay? So it's not going to be right for everybody, and it's not going to be wrong for everybody either. But for me, 3D is all about perceived control. How can I control things? What am I going to get for me? What's in it for me, 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 me? And that transition in the fourth dimension is kind of, for me, it's learning how to let go of the me, 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 and what is right for us. How is this going to collectively support us? How am I going to let go of the need to control things that are actually not really worth controlling or worth worrying about and giving myself anxiety and stress? And then fifth dimension is like, everything's okay. I don't need to worry about all that. It's letting go and not, it's not so much not caring about the outcome, but not being attached to it, that you allow it to interfere with your purpose, your passion, your where you're going, your target. Everything just, you just let go. You don't get caught up in the bullshit drama.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's not getting caught up in the drama, and it's the 3D drama. It really is a drama, and we're powerless. It's that that 3D. I've just had this analogy come in, which is going to sound really weird, but
Oh, I
I'm
love
just going to
analogies. Is it
say
shit
it anyway.
related? Because all of my analogies have got shit in them.
No.
It's like love. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. Love is like a fart. See, everything's about shit. It's great. It's my favorite word. Anyway, sorry, I digressed and probably distracted you. Go.
They're showing me the flat Earth, so it's kind of like that transition of when we were alive then in some capacity, but when people thought that the Earth was flat, and then the concept of it not being flat was there. It's that in between is what I'm getting. It's like, no, this is it. This is all there is. But someone else is saying there's more. And it is that waiting room of, what do I believe right now?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm sensing there with that. But it is about knowing that you're more, because in that 3D drama, you don't believe you're more. All you are is this. You're separate from anybody else. Life,
You're in Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, life, you become a victim to life. And then you get in that transition of the fourth dimension where you think, I wonder if this is possible. And then you get to the fifth dimension where it's like, yeah, I get it. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I think for me, I had elements of fifth dimension living right from, and I didn't know that's what it was. Okay, because
Yeah.
don't think you run around going, oh, that's fifth dimension. Oh, it's
No.
kind of sneaks up on you a bit, and then someone labeled it, and you go, ah, that's what I've been doing all along.
Yeah.
And of course, you always get those people that look at you that think, oh yeah, whatever. But until you actually have a label, it's hard to kind of describe how you do things too. So,
Yeah.
but there's definitely, like the abuse and trauma that happened in my earlier life, that was definitely 3D living. And I suppose my introduction to 5D was letting go of the association, letting go of the emotional attachment, letting go of the outcome, that them doing that, their choices has got no bearing on who I am as a person. I'm still going to move forward. So there were elements
Mm.
of it sort of at different points in my life, but I probably became more aware of it when Trish and I started hanging out and starting to share our knowledge and pool our knowledge together, and give each other an understanding of not so much, this is my book of tricks, what's yours? It's more of, oh, okay, I approach this subject in this way. How do you feel about that? So it's,
Yeah.
and that's the great part about being friends with someone who's just so weird as well, because you can
Well,
really talk about the weird shit and get away with it. It's great.
it's great to hear other perspectives, because it does, as you say,
Yeah.
give it kind of, it helps you understand your perspective as well. The other thing I've heard about fourth dimension is that's the time element in
Yeah.
humanity. So we start at one dimension, which is the consciousness, and then the two dimension, which is the consciousness experiencing itself, the three dimension, which is the positive and negative, and then you need, because it's physical, you need a time factor in there. So there's the fourth dimension, which is more giving it the time. And then, obviously, as you move up to the fifth dimension, that time is a construct.
Yeah.
but from the third dimension, they need time. But from a fifth dimension, everything's happening all at the same time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a bit about what we've been learning lately is about how we're creating we are our own reality, and we're creating that. And as soon as we realize that we are our own reality and we are our own creation of that reality, then things start happening faster. And when I was
Mm,
listening to this particular person, who is just a very clever lady, talk about her passion, and this is her passion, it's what she lived for. I was thinking, you know what? I actually get what she's saying, because
mm.
it's not so much that I want this in my life and then I have to kind of fake it till I make it. And if you've watched anything of mine before, I've always said you can't bullshit who you are on the
No.
inside. To fake it till you make it don't work on yourself, okay?
That's just for everybody else around you.
Yeah, that's for the multi-level marketing people that, they talk themselves
Mm,
into everything will be okay. But it doesn't work like that
no,
when it comes
it
to your
doesn't.
spiritual growth. It just
No,
won't.
no.
So you can't trick yourself into doing that. But
Mm,
what I've learned is that that there is actually no, most of the time when I create my vision board, I'm creating it and then I get it. And within 6 months of the first part of the year of creating it, I've actually got everything on my vision board. And
mm,
I think it's more of a frequency, and I know that it's just mine already. It's just the things that I already have in my life. Like picture of your husband on your desk. I actually just have a picture of my motorcycle that is mine. It's just not physically mine yet, but in my mind it's mine. So I
yeah,
already have it. So I get things really, really quickly. And
yeah.
hearing the way this particular lady explained it, I was like, got it now. That's how it happens for me. But I've never been able to verbalize it because I've got a shit placed Mercury. But that's another story. I
But you
blame
can
Mercury.
no matter what, you can always learn.
Yeah, it's amazing,
Yeah,
isn't it? And
yeah,
even sometimes, and I suppose that the fifth dimension for me was about letting go of. Now you need a level of ego, okay? Otherwise, you won't go to the supermarket and you won't,
yeah.
do things that you. It's ambition and drive, okay? So you need you
You
need an
need that.
element of it, so you can be a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
But it's the unhealthy ego that it creates a problem. So for me, the fifth dimension was all about removing. Um, removing the ego, but removing it in such a way that I'm able to be vulnerable and ask questions and let go of the outcome and not feel embarrassed about things because they're out of my control, or not being embarrassed about
Mm,
asking why something doesn't make sense. And that's something I struggled with for a very long time from that point of view, being vulnerable, because um, everybody jumped on that when I was vulnerable. So I learned not to do it pretty
Mm,
quickly. But as I step more into the fifth and becoming more consistent with the fifth, that's
mm.
less of an issue for me. Now I just don't give a hoot.
Yeah, and this is what I talk to my clients about too. It really is. It's having that view, like you're a fly on the wall at what's happening in the physical or in the room or between two people or in your life or whatever, and just seeing the drama play out and just not getting involved in it emotionally, just kind of going, just observing, being the observer, and just going, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting that that's happening. And it just takes that emotional charge out of it instead of getting into the fear and the control and that ego that needs to be right or be better or
Yeah,
whatever
that
whatever that
competitive
is.
streak. Yeah.
Yeah, but having said that, I mean, I still like to win. I have that competitive streak, but it's not from the place where I used to like to win. Like it's more of a it's more of a just being the best I can now rather
Yeah.
than being the winner. And I remember back in my nail salon days, and we were all competing at the Australian. I dragged all the staff, kicking and screaming. We were all competing at the at the events, and I was Australian champion one year, and then there was some other times when
I
obviously
love
I
just how
wasn't.
candidly you say that. I was an Australian champion. Like,
Yeah.
hello.
um, but there was times in there where I really wanted to win with the designs that I'd done, and I'd come second or third, and I'd be devastated. And people are going, but you just came second in Australia. I'm like, that's like losing for me,
My
right?
life is over.
I may as well have lost if I didn't come first. And that was a real ego, though. That was like, I want everybody to know that I won. Now it's just a little bit different. It's less ego. It's more about me knowing I've done the best job I can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a higher energy kind of
Yeah.
ego.
I love
Yeah.
that. I was just thinking, have I ever been competitive in my life? And yes, when I was doing sports when I was younger.
I'd
But
say
then
you'd be very competitive.
oh, I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you're not allowed to lift your hockey stick above your hip. What a stupid rule. Like, hello, free for all. Get out of the way. Don't want to get hit. Move, move, move. So I only played one game of hockey and I went over to
Oh
cross
no.
country. But, and because I loved cross country so much and single person sports a lot, unless I was doing martial arts, but you're kind
Mm,
of still single unless you're grading anyway. So, um, I didn't really, I always competed with myself. But when I looked back, I was actually proving to myself that I wasn't all those things that other people said I was. So I
yeah.
was kind of competing with them, even
Yeah.
though I felt like I was proving it to myself. So,
Yeah.
and as you, it's not even, I don't even think it's as you get older, I think it's as you become more self aware and
Yeah.
reflect that you go, ah, okay, yeah,
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 yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Um, yeah, so I think everybody at the beginning of this year we were kind of since 2012 the whole planet's been shifting into these high vibrations. I kind of feel last year in the beginning of this year everybody was in the waiting room, well, not everybody. The ones who were in 3D got shuffled into the waiting room. Some of them kind of understood it and started to understand it. Some people are still in the waiting room wondering why. And I think in this last 6 months, there's so many people that that you and I know, and that we deal with clients or whatever. Everyone's rising up and really seeing um, a less 3D picture of
yeah,
things. They're really seeing the bigger view because a 3D view of things is separate.
yeah,
It's like we're separate. But as we learnt today, and as we already knew, but in a different language, so to speak, everything is us. We're connected to everything, and that's the higher kind of point of view. Um, and maybe when we run out of these topics, I think we've got 8 weeks to go. I'm pretty sure next year that'll take us to the end of the year. I'm pretty sure next year, for everyone listening, we're going to come back with some bigger topics, like perhaps the higher dimensions than that, and
yeah,
really start tuning into that because The guide that I've got is me in my 10th dimension energy, and I just kind of feel that those higher energies, they don't even have a physical presence. They're
Yeah.
just energy. So that'll be really fun to explore next year. Stay tuned, subscribe to the podcast.
And that's an interesting concept that you just, we were actually speaking about this before we came on as well, about different dimensions. And Trish said to me quite some time ago now that I was admiring the picture that she had in the background. And she said, oh, that's me in my 10th dimension. And I'm like, you know how when you just hear things and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. Your body just knows, your essence knows everything, every fiber in your body just goes, yeah, that's not bullshit. That's real. And
Yeah.
then you get this little goosey bump feeling where you go, oh, I want to learn more about this. And
Mm.
I didn't really see any of my guides as being, I've seen them walk with me, I've seen them be with me, but then I'm trying to just now, and there I go scratching my head. See, that's my human go for, okay, I need to think about this. I've actually cannot remember a time where a certain guide of mine has never been with me.
Mm.
So that's really interesting. And I was saying this to one of the, I'm in a craft group, don't laugh, they're beautiful women, but I know jack shit about crafts, but they're hilarious and I learned so much from them. So
Are you
they're
are
stuck
you
with me.
are you crocheting, knitting,
No,
or?
I sewed my Harley Davidson patch thing on and stabbed myself 47 times and took it out to my girlfriend, and she did it she wasn't even looking. She was talking to me and looking at my face while she was sewing it. So rude. She could have at least pretended it was hard for my benefit. But anyway, that aside. And I was saying that, oh, I've just lost it again now. What was I talking about? What
you're
rubbish was I talking about?
you're in a craft group.
See, I threw you too. I love it when shit goes off like Vikings. That's what I was talking about. Camden, one of my main guides, is a Viking, and
Ah.
he is a big unit of a man, a big unit of a man. But I can't remember a time when he was not with me. Like it is almost glued to my side. He is my
Mm.
go-to person when nothing makes sense. This man knows everything. I have not once considered in all my 5'2" scary state that I am in, that Camden is a portion of me or a part of me. Never ever considered that. But now the
Mm.
more I think about it and the more I talk things out, because this is when all my aha moments happen, is when I'm doing them publicly because it's embarrassing to back out of it. I think that we're onto something here because Camden is very much a part of me.
Yeah, and hence
Absolutely
and hence why
massive.
we do this podcast. It's all for us.
Yeah, like
This is
everybody
our
just gets to
education.
watch our growth.
This is our education. Yeah, it's just so fascinating, isn't it? And
And it makes perfect
yeah.
sense.
And if you take away if you put into consideration that time is a construct, all of those parts of us end up. Well, there it is again. I've got a cheeky little spirit here. Um, all of those parts of us and those other versions of us are all existing right now anyway, and it doesn't matter how far back in human time or how far future, it's all happening all at the same time. So is it something in your um, energy as a soul to uh, to have parts of yourself come back in different lifetimes to. Do you know what I'm kind of feeling
Yeah.
like? It's not even coming back in. It's not even the right words. It's like I'm going to be your. You've got a direct phone line to me, no matter what lifetime you're in.
Yeah.
You're talking to yourself,
Yeah.
but it's not a phone line. It's physical presence there.
Yeah. Because it's
Mm,
really interesting because I actually see my guides and I've seen Camden. So
mm,
I know that he actually presented himself to an ex partner of mine who very quickly redirected his behavior very, very quick. I don't think I've ever seen a man do a backward step that quick before. Um,
mm,
so it was really interesting that that came out. And I remember I had, because I worked security for a very long time, and I had a very volatile situation that I walked into one night, and there were weapons, all sorts of stuff going on. And I remember saying to the man that was the instigator of all things trouble, which I actually wasn't dating for once in my life, just sit down and shut up. And he sat down on the spot, and he looked absolutely terrified of me, and I could not.
Mm.
I've shrunken, okay? I've never gotten taller. But when the police questioned him later and asked him, like, what was he doing there? Was all the normal stuff that police questioned him? He said that I didn't look like that lady. Didn't look like that lady. She looked different. And he said, and that frightened me,
Interesting.
and I sat down. And I've never forgotten it, because
Mm.
it was the most. And now talking about, dimensions and all that sort of stuff, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is that what that man saw in that moment? Because that was really volatile. That could have gone any way whatsoever. So and
Yeah. But you've had a volatile life, hence the Viking part of you that's
yeah,
needed to come out this lifetime. So that's interesting. I
you
think you should ask him.
I think so. And I think he should share
Hmm.
some of his height.
I think so.
I think that's pretty selfish, keeping it all. I
Well,
wonder if I was always that tall and I just got shorter as my lifetime's got. Oh
well,
God, I
keep
can't come
keep
back. I'll be a midget.
well, keep this in mind. You are also living in a higher dimension than him. So perhaps
That's
you
true.
have height or something else that he wants.
Well, one of my guys is very, very tall, long, way over the top of Camden. So that's very interesting. Oh, it's also
Mm,
exciting.
it is.
There's just so much to learn, isn't there? And you know
There
what?
is.
I agree with you when you said about, our clients are starting to shift, and we're seeing it a lot being on the
Yeah.
ground, I suppose, in the industry, where more people are saying, you know what, I was a skeptic, but these things are going on, and I'm kind of dreaming in color, or I'm seeing things, and a couple of strange things have happened to me, and now I can't just say I'm a skeptic anymore. I'm a little bit interested. So
Yeah.
collectively, we're kind of the waiting room's filling up a bit, I really honestly feel it is. I think that
Yeah, it
not that there's
is.
anything wrong with being a skeptic or having a religious belief that would, make you or make you feel as though you need to not change your belief pattern. No one's saying that, but there's
Mm.
certainly a big movement towards what else is there? Is there something else? What?
Oh, absolutely. And, back to the flat earth
Yeah,
concept, there were people at that time saying, surely there must be something out there. There's
yeah,
something more. And we've done that all through history, even with other planets or whatever. There's got to be something more. So, yeah, I think people are going internally now. And speaking of skeptics, my daughter had some pretty powerful healing from somebody last week that just cleared so many things just in an instant. And she's been. It was funny actually because when she said, well, because Jess has been having some counselling, as I know a lot of people are having right now for certain things. And this lady said, yeah, you won't need counselling after this. Oh, okay. I'm going to take the place of perhaps, 3 months
yeah,
of that. And that's how fast energy works. And so
yeah,
she was a little bit skeptical, but she now has that door opened
yeah,
to maybe there is more to this, and that's
yeah.
even with her weirdo mother who does all this stuff anyway. But who believes their mums, right?
It's mum. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not right, mum. You can't be right.
So it's just really interesting, but yeah, a lot of the clients I've been working with lately too have really been opening up to, I know there's more, but I just can't pinpoint it for me. What is it for me? And just
Yeah,
finding one thing that they can believe in opens up a door to so many other things.
yeah. I do a lot of work with people that are taking antidepressants and all those sorts of styles of medication. And by the time they come to me for their first session, whether I don't do healings, I do, well, I suppose it's verbal healing, we get
Yeah,
to the bottom of things pretty quickly, but I don't do any
absolutely.
hands-on healing.
Oh
That's
no,
always
this wasn't hands-on either. No, this is all pure vibration.
emotion, yeah, emotion code stuff. So and when they come to me, I'll say to them, "Oh, I can. Obviously, you're on medication that like," and they'll say, "Yes, I really want to go off it." And I'm like, "That's your body telling you to go off it. Go off it. Tell your doctor that you're off it, and you decide for yourself." Within 3 months, every single one of these people, and I have literally seen 200, maybe 300 people in the last 12 months. they've come back to me within 3 months saying, I have not touched my medication. I'm fine. My coping mechanisms are there. I'm aware of more things that are going on in my life. And I know that, from the thousands of people that do need to be on medication, I'm not saying go off it or anything like that. But it's really interesting that when people, their bodies are already saying, I don't want to do this anymore. There's got to be a different way of coping. There's got to be a different way of
Yeah.
processing stuff. And then when I say, look, just do it. Just tell your doctor that you don't want to do it. It's your body. It's your choice. If you feel that you're going down the black hole again, then you have to be an adult about it and get some help. That's it. End of story.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And then no word of lie, 3 months to 3.5, push at the very push, 4 months, every single one of them come back and said it's the best decision of my life because I'm
Yeah.
starting to evolve. I'm not. And a lot of them are extremely intuitive and they've taken medication because people have told
That's
them that they're crazy or they're too sensitive or they can't cope with
mm.
stuff. But at what point are we teaching them to cope with stuff? So
But that's the 3D life, isn't it?
it
You don't
is.
you
It
just
is.
take everything for granted, what everybody says to you.
Yeah.
But our bodies are talking to us too, which is
Their
why people are
barometers.
coming to us
Yeah.
now, because our energy, whether you like it or not, or believe in it or not, or whatever you believe, our energy is vibrating faster.
Yeah.
And so the body is then kind of, yeah, no, this isn't working anymore. I'm going to give you some pain or some grief or something because you got to sort this shit out and move on.
Yep.
And because everything is rising. But having said that, everybody's got free will,
Yep.
and you want to stay in the 3D, do it. Here's another concept I've got, which
I love
which
that tone.
which may, I don't know, it feels true for me. In all of these different realities, we just move to different realities with our energy. So anybody who wants to stay in the 3D energy will be in a 3D reality.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Yep.
But it will look different for you and I who go up, and anybody else who moves up. It will be a different reality and a different
Yeah.
parallel reality that is on a different level. And ultimately, that's happening with all of our dimensions.
Yeah.
they're all living a different life, and in a reality that looks different based on their energy.
Exactly. Based on their physical manifestation.
Yeah.
That's
So,
that's just such a beautiful concept. It really is. I love it. I love it.
and of course, the Earth is different in all of those realities too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
I wonder if at any point we could line up a couple of realities and they could do like shopping for me, so I don't have to go shopping. They could do housework for me. Do the housework. I could just like lay in bikinis out in the backyard all day because
you
all
you
of
need
my
to live in
dimensions.
you need to live in the Jetsons reality.
Oh my God.
I want to be a Jetson.
Oh,
It's
I
all
mean, George
coming
Jetson.
true.
I love that idea.
I think
I
even
don't know if I could let go of a car or a spaceship though. Like put cruise control on the spaceship and just go down to Aldi to pick up some gear. I don't know
it's
if I could do that.
so interesting how all of those shows they've all just got some level of truth to them now, and even all of the alien movies and all of the far out spacey kind of movies, they're all just coming true. It's
Yeah,
pretty amazing. And a lot of those characters in those movies, I mean, they are the kind of praying mantis characters, and all of the characters that you see, and that all from all those other
yeah.
energies and planets. Yeah.
Crazy. So much fun. Oh, I just can't wait. I can't wait. There's some
And
huge changes coming in astrologically towards the end of the year. And also when I check in as well, there's some lots of changes going on. So we might have to do like a
ah,
current affair podcast or something. We might
I
sneak that in somewhere.
I think so. Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah. In the meantime, you have a little chat to, what's his name?
Fred.
Camden.
Oh,
Fred.
Camden. Fred. It's
Camden.
Fred. Fred's the tallest so far. I'll probably get in trouble for that. Elena's from a whole other place.
Yeah.
we won't break Elena out yet. But Camden, yeah, I want to have a chat with Camden and find out just what part. Because
Yeah.
even when I did a meditation, I was on. I did a meditation in my astrotherapy to get emotion because I'm not an emotional person. I needed to use a logical mathematical equation to get to my healing center. So I chose astrology to do that. And it was brilliant, brilliant. loved it. So, but in the meditation to let go of each of the stage, because your Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, whole other podcast, we'll get to it later. But when I did my meditation, I was on a Viking ship every single time. I was on the front of the
Interesting.
ship. I wasn't like, Rose and whatever his name
Wasn't
is.
like the Titanic.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for
No.
that. But
Yeah.
I was always on a Viking ship. This is crazy shit. Okay, we've got to
Ah.
go. We need to wrap it up. I've got research to do.
Camden, front and center.
Quick, quick. There we go.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, that's been an interesting topic. So, and I think from the comments, everybody likes talking about that higher dimension because everybody's got a little fascination with
Yeah.
it. And here's the other thing: when you are living in that higher dimension, you just are more peaceful. And this is the difference that I used to see in leaders and mentors. Like, okay, here am I running around like a, frantic so-and-so and, like what's that character?
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner and not actually getting anything
Oh, the
done.
crazy devil.
The crazy, yeah, and like not actually getting anything done. And here's all these people just, wow, like us now. Like, how do they do that? And that's just that higher energy. And it's not really the energy, it's the attitude, it's the knowledge that we're not separate.
Yep.
Because when you're separate, which is actually what I'm going to be talking a lot about in my talk this weekend about overwhelm, you only feel overwhelm and stress when you're separate.
Yep.
When you're really connected and feel like you're just overlooking the 3D situation, then there's more peace and calm. And of course, Johnita and I are always peaceful and calm when we're on the podcast. Not
Don't look at my eyes while I lie. We are
not
always peaceful.
just
Everything
on
in
the
my life is just fantastic.
just on the podcast, I said.
And that's what makes us so comfortable in talking about these things, because we're learning. We don't have all the answers. We're not supposed to have all the bloody answers. Otherwise, we would
No,
just give up and go home.
because
So
we're
it's
certainly there. We've certainly been there, done that, and keep doing it. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I picked a lovely husband now. I've learned the lesson to picking dicks. Now I've got a nice one. Wow. It took me 36 years. That's okay. Some things you gotta suck at. Obviously, I sucked at picking boyfriends for quite some time.
Ah, yes, but there was all purpose to that madness too.
Absolutely.
Coming from a higher dimension, it all had to happen.
Yes, that's true. My three-dimensional person.
Three-dimensional person. Well, that's pretty
He was a
sucky.
bit of a dumbass. Yes. Oh dear. And on that note, we will thank you very much for joining us right here for this episode. Remember, you can join us live every Wednesday night at 6:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time on Facebook page, A Guided Life Podcast.
Absolutely. And you can also subscribe across all the channels. We are everywhere: Buzzsprout, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, soon to be Amazon and Audible. Go us. And get on there, subscribe. And if you're already listening from one of those channels, thank you for subscribing and welcome. And we love having you here and hope you've enjoyed the conversation.
We do. And for all of our aliens listening, please do make sure that you share us with all your other alien craft.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen to those crazy humans.
Oh,
Thank you
and
once again to our sponsor, Holistic Bliss Magazine, and to all of you who support our work and our craziness.
absolutely. And just a word about Holistic Bliss. This month in August is all about evolution, and you will find some really high energy, like high dimensional energy people and articles in the magazine this month,
Absolutely.
which will give you lots of new perspectives on stuff. So go check it out.
Yeah, and I actually wrote astroscopes with the definition because I channel
Yes.
astroscopes. I don't look at the planets, I cheat. I
Yes.
call in one of my, I must have an astrologer in my posse. Well, I knew I had one, but now I've got that part of me. Anyway, another story. So, astroscopes is channeled, and I've actually asked the question each time that we get the topic for holistic bliss. This is the topic: how is each of these star signs or sun signs going to evolve? So check
Yes.
it out. It's be might be the key trigger that you need to get you to the next place.
Absolutely. Your astroscopes each month are brilliant. So, yeah, definitely check those out on holisticblissmagazine.com.
And we're done.
We are done.
We're done.
Episode 14.
Bye, guys. Thanks very much.
Bye, everyone.